So you've just jumped out of a perfectly good aeroplane. What's the first thing you do? Now this story takes me back last year. So before I jump into it, make sure you grab yourself a beverage. I'm going to be drinking some coffee today. You are more than welcome to drink some alcohol or soft drinks if you're underage. It does not matter. I want you to relax and enjoy yourself in this video. So grab yourself a beverage, sit back and enjoy today's video. So last year I decided was the year I was going to do my skydive. I booked it and I was really excited to try and do it. Now I had no idea what to expect while doing it. I just thought, let's just do it and see what happens. So I booked it and I was really anxious but really excited building up to it. And the day came and I drove all the way to the skydiving centre just to be told at the last second that, yep, the second I arrived, my skydive had just been cancelled. So I had to drive hours back and then wait another week. Just before I once set off again after all those days of waiting, I phoned just to make sure that it was actually open this time, ready. And even though the skies were blue, there was no breeze in the air, the skydive was cancelled once again. I was pretty frustrated at this point because I'm thinking, am I actually going to do this? I'm keep mentally hyping myself up to try and jump out of a perfectly good plane. And every time I'm getting cut short. So I waited another 2 weeks and then there was a slot available. I was able to book it and try again. Now, just before I left, I woke up earlier just to try and get myself mentally prepared, coffee in hand, like today actually. I then got myself prepared and I was just choosing my outfit. Now, what was I going to wear? I wanted something warm, but at the same time I was thinking, well, if I'm going to die today, which there is a possibility, a slim one, but there is a possibility, I want to go out looking my very best. I'm going to be wearing my best watch, my favourite watch, my Omega Seamaster. So even though on the skydiving website it says not to bring any like valuable possessions because there's a like decently high chance you're going to get them lost, I was like, well, I don't care. If I'm going to die, I'm going to go out in fashion. So I put my watch on and I was worried they were going to check it. So, and they seemed to like they actually would. So what I did is I wore a fleece and I rolled the sleeve down over my watch so they couldn't see it. Now, just before I left the house, I rang them up and they told me there was a 50-50 chance the dive was going to go on. And I was like, oh God, can I go all that way just to have it cancelled again? I was really like annoyed because I didn't really want to lose the opportunity, but also didn't want to go that far just for it to be cancelled. But I decided just to go with it anyway. And luckily I did because it was going ahead. Now, just before I actually jumped, there was a team going up before me. There was only a couple people in tandem that day. Now, the person that I went with, the guy that jumped with me, did one other jump that day. And that person actually was a famous artist here in the UK, Sam Ryder. So just before I did my jump, the guy came down with Sam, who had just jumped. At this point, he wasn't massively famous. I didn't even know who he was. He came up to me, said, Jack, you're going to have an amazing time. This guy's really good. He's took care of me really well. And you're going to really enjoy it. So I didn't know who this guy was. I was like, okay, thank you. Shook his hand and mentally prepared myself for the jump, not knowing that I just met Sam Ryder, who I'm actually going to see early this year. So quite an interesting turn of events. Last year I met him. This year I'm going to one of his concerts. So pretty cool though. And I was then ready to try and jump for the first time. After an hour and a half of waiting, my time was finally here. I was finally able to go up. So I did the slow walk towards the plane along the airstrip, seeing all the other models they had lined up, all the other planes that were not in use currently, but had been in the past. And then I jumped into the plane. I was at the very back, and I could see on the slow ascent upwards, the altimeter on my partner's wrist slowly ticking up all the way up to 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet, all the way up to 10,000 and then just a little bit beyond. We then finally reached altitude. The plane sort of leveled out and people started to jump. People were jumping out of the plane again and again. I was shuffling forward, getting ready to do my jump. Now, just before I actually jumped, I decided, okay, this was time now. Nobody's going to stop me now by having a watch. It's too late. I'm too far gone. So I rolled my sleeve back, had a look at my watch. Okay, it's time to jump. I turned to my partner and the last thing I said before we jumped, I said to him, I hope you're not scared of heights. Because weirdly enough, even though I am, I had a heart rate of probably 100 beats per minute. I was not scared at all. It was scaring me how not scared I was. I was so unbelievably calm. I just turned to him and said that. He laughed slightly. We then got to the position. We were the last ones out the door. My feet on the edge of the plane. I was looking down. I could see clouds below me and nothing else. This was it. I was about to jump. So I put my head back, got ready to jump, and off we went. Now, for the first few seconds, I was like, wow, okay, this is actually doing it. There's nothing holding me right now. I am just falling. I could just fall straight to my death if this chute does not open. But what they don't tell you beforehand is that when you do a parachute jump, the wind is coming at you so fast, you can't breathe. It's like putting your head out of a window while going like 100 miles an hour on the motorway, but a lot faster, obviously. So you just can't breathe for how fast the air is going into your mouth. You can't turn away because the guy with tandem to you is stopping you from doing that. So you just can't breathe. And in the footage, you'll probably see me gasping for air. At first, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then I was like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. But then I was like, okay, I'm just going to suck this up. I don't need air for a minute or so. And I'm just going to try and get the shot of a lifetime. The photo of me checking the time. The other guy that was jumping with me, that was filming me, was coming around circles, spinning, trying to get the good angles on me. I then made sure to try and get that photo of me checking the time, and luckily it came out perfectly. I was so happy with this photo. It looks amazing. Now, that for me was all I needed. I don't need to go back up again. While I enjoyed my skydive, I did not enjoy it enough to do it again. It was quite a lot of money. I think it was about £250. At the same time, I have got that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity there, and I've had it, done it. I'm all satisfied. I don't need that to go again. I'm not an adrenaline junkie like that. I'll do something once, but I don't need that fix. So that was my shot, that one shot right there. But how did I get down? How did that go? Not great, if I'm honest, because the second the chute was pulled and the actual canopy opened, my ears were ringing so heavily I could not hear anything. And this is when I was given the controls for the canopy. I didn't even know this was going to happen. The guy gave me the controls, and all I needed to do was pop my ears, but I couldn't because I was holding and directing us. If I just let go, I don't know what would have happened. We'd probably just span. So I asked the guy, I was yelling because I couldn't hear myself, yelling for him to take it back so I could pop my ears, and then that was okay. After that, I enjoyed myself. I was just floating around like a bird, seeing the views for miles on end, just relaxing. So that, my friends, is how I did the 120-mile-an-hour wristwatch check. I really hope you've enjoyed this short story. Thank you ever so much for watching. Berto's video. Goodbye.